Chances are you probably clicked on this video for one of two reasons. One, you want to improve your KD in the Crucible, or two, you just want to find some tips to become a better player. In this video, we're going to be covering exactly those two things, and even if you are an absolutely amazing PvP player, you may just learn something new from this video. After all, there is always room for improvement. Anyways, without further ado, let's get this video started by talking about what I believe is by far the most important tip in this video: sensitivity. While it is true that there are definitely some advantages to being able to manage a higher sensitivity, it isn't always the best. I see it all too often where players are absolutely locked in on playing on a certain sensitivity solely because they heard that was the best. However, I can't stress enough how important it is to play on a sensitivity that you are comfortable with. And if you really do want to improve your sensitivity, how I would recommend doing that is by gradually increasing it over time. You don't want to just make random massive jumps, as that will probably hurt your game more than it helps. The second thing that I want to talk about is map awareness. In my opinion, this is by far one of the most commonly overlooked things in Destiny 2, and you'd honestly be surprised at just how many kills you can get by knowing where the enemy is going to spawn and knowing where common push points are. Take this clip for example right here. As you guys can see, I kill the guy defending A flag, I start capturing it, then I realize somebody is coming up from behind me. Rather than waiting for him to push up, I slide in and I get him while he is jumping in. The important thing to take away from this situation right here is that when the Titan uses his jump to get over to A flag as fast as possible, that basically renders him defenseless as he can't draw his weapon while he is gliding, and it results in a pretty free kill for me. You would honestly be very surprised at just how many people you can catch off guard by doing something like this, especially in modes like Control where people are just expecting you to be on the flag. When you actually push first, people get really confused or they just simply are not prepared for it. And that is actually going to bring me into the next thing that I want to talk about: supers. Now personally, I believe you can use a super one of two ways. One, you can use your super offensively, or two, you can use it defensively. I feel like playing a defensive super is a lot more self-explanatory, but here's a clip showcasing what I am talking about. So right here, you guys can see that there is a Warlock that has just popped his Dawnblade super. So how I'm going to counter that is by going outside, popping my Goldie, and then getting him with the nice one tap. The reason I didn't pop my super any sooner is I wanted to make sure that I was safe. I wanted to make sure I had room between me and the Dawnblade, because Golden Gun is not very good at close range, and that worked obviously to perfection. Like I said though, playing a defensive super is pretty self-explanatory, and if you are a little bit less confident with your super, or you just prefer to play that way, definitely playing a defensive super is the move. But let's quickly talk about how you can play an offensive super successfully. The very first thing that you are always going to want to do is pop your super in a safe spot. I see it all too often where people think they are invincible and try to pop their super in front of multiple enemies. However, that is going to get you pretty much insta-melted, especially if you are using a super like Golden Gun. I know most of you guys are probably not making that mistake to begin with, but just keep in mind there are a couple of cran-eating Titans that watch my videos. Obviously, I'm just messing around. If you are a Titan main, I have nothing against you, but you guys make some questionable decisions. Anyways, back to what I was saying about using a super effectively. Here's a clip I want to show you guys of a super that was used kind of effectively. So right here, you guys will see I slide out and I pop my Goldie directly in front of a sniper player. I get really lucky, he missed right there, and then I'm able to get those 2 kills, and I jump up and I kill this last guy who was popping his super. Overall, that clip basically showed you guys exactly what you should and should not do at the exact same time. Definitely don't pop your super right in front of somebody, but if you do, definitely don't fold under pressure. Keep trying. That guy might miss a shot like he did in that clip, and you might just get a 3-piece. Moving on from supers, let's talk about which fights you should be taking and which ones you should be avoiding. I can't even begin to tell you guys how many times I have died in the Crucible solely because I made a stupid decision and decided to push 3+ players by myself. And to be completely honest, it is actually quite easy to avoid a lot of those situations. What I see a lot in PvP is people chasing down kills way too hard. just because you got somebody low and they ran around a corner does not always mean, oh, I need to absolutely chase that guy, because a lot of the time what's going to happen is he is actually leading you into his teammates for easy team shots, and if he's not leading you into a group of teammates, he's probably trying to swap positions with a teammate that is at full health, and then suddenly you are at a disadvantage. Now don't worry, I'm not saying that you should stop chasing down potential kills. All I'm saying is that you should probably be a little bit more cautious when doing so, otherwise, like I said, you may get team shot. On the flip side of getting yourself into a bad situation, let's talk about the fights that you should be taking and, how to get yourself into a favorable situation. For starters, you always want to be trying to pay attention to which fights are currently happening around you. The main reason you are actually going to want to do this is a lot of the times after those fights conclude, people are left very, very weak and you can slide in and get a few free kills. Yes, I realize this may sound like a very cheesy strategy, but just keep in mind when you are watching a great player play Destiny 2, there is no coincidence that they are constantly finding players that are low. They are positioning themselves in a way to allow for that. And that is actually going to bring me into the final tip for this video: using your weapons effectively. Now I know you might be thinking, Gravely, it's 2021, literally everybody knows how to use their weapons effectively, but you guys would be surprised at just how many people have shot me with hand cannons from literally 70 meters away. I mean, seriously, your hand cannon is not reaching 70 meters no matter what role you have. You could literally have rangefinder time payload, you are not reaching that far, unless you obviously have Ariana's Vow, but you guys get the point. Don't be like those people. Don't use your hand cannon from across the map. Now, don't get me wrong, it is not just hand cannon players doing this. I have seen so many people use their weapons ineffectively or just not know what you can really do with your weapon. Take shotguns, especially slug shotguns for example. Many people think the only purpose for a shotgun is to absolutely ape in and try to get as many close quarters kills as possible, but what people don't realize is shotguns are some of the best defensive weapons in the entire game. In my opinion, the most effective way to actually play with a shotgun is to mainly play off of your primary and then just kind of have your shotgun as a safety valve. You never, and I mean absolutely never, need to be getting as many shotgun kills as primary kills unless you're on Anomaly, but for one, the very moment that you actually run out of special ammo, you're pretty much screwed. You can't really do anything. And for two, well, you aren't going to get better with your primary weapons if you're crutching on a shotgun all of the time. I seriously cannot stress enough how important it is to pull out your primary in PvP. You will not get better by aping people with a shotgun all the time. But yeah, that's pretty much all I have for today's video. Once again, don't forget to pull out your primary because it's important. Anyways though, if you guys did end up enjoying this video, I would greatly appreciate it if you left a like and a comment letting me know what you thought. And if you really enjoyed this video and would like to see more from my channel, make sure you subscribe. Anyways, it's been Gravely. Peace.